Hello, everybody, and welcome to Row 60, a Georgia football podcast. My name is Clark Gaines. Joining me today, as always, Adam Thornton.
Yes, sir.
And this is show number 52, and we're going to do something really interesting on this episode, Adam.
What are we going to do?
We've got us a top 5 list of our favorite dogs.
Top 5 and a few honorable mentions.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, for real. We've got a lot of different Georgia football players that we're going to be talking about on this episode because this episode is our top 5 favorite Georgia football players in the Mark Richt and Kirby Smart era. And we're going to have to shorten that down to a shorter title to make that all fit. But top 5 favorite Georgia football players in the Kirby and Richt era. And this is going to be a lot of fun, Adam.
I like it, Clark. I'm excited about it. So that's going to span from 2001, when Mark Richt's first season at the University of Georgia, and kind of our age range and where our guest age range are.
Yeah.
Kind of where our memory really starts when we knew what was happening.
Yes.
So to speak, you know. So that's why we narrowed it down to just do those 2 areas of Georgia football, man. And that spans over a long time. A lot of good guys wore the red and black during that point in time, man. So I'm excited with the names that I put down, just names that, oh, man, popped up. And it was great to go down memory lane. And think of those guys in the many moments on the napkin.
On the napkin, Adam.
On the napkin. You don't need notebook paper or a phone or a smartphone like you got yours on a phone. Just a napkin, man.
Yeah.
Just be resourceful.
I appreciate that.
Be resourceful.
Yeah. That looks good.
Yes, sir. So I'm ready.
We're going to have like a segment called Adam's Napkin Notes.
Well, I got some more shredded notes from, I don't know, those from I don't know. I got a bunch of notes, just napkins piled up on the table right here.
I love it.
Previous show notes.
Yeah.
Show notes. From past episodes.
Yeah.
So. But this is going to be a good one.
It will. And Adam, we're going to bring on, you kind of alluded to this just a second ago, we have special guests with us, Adam. Nice. And this is the second time in Row 60 history that we have brought on people to join us.
That's true.
And these guys are 2 DGDs. They worked with me at the University of Georgia. They were on the film crew with me. These guys know their stuff. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So without further ado, let's welcome Baylor Terrell and Will Matthews to Row 60.
Everybody give them a clap.
Yeah, give them a clap.
Everybody give them a clap.
Y'all go ahead and unmute yourselves.
Yes, sir. Good to have y'all, boys. Go ahead. Floor's yours.
Yep. Baylor, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe when you became a dog.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like Gaines said, I worked with Gaines at Georgia. Our years was 2014 to 2017, so the Rose Bowl was my last year. And I grew up in Cleveland, Tennessee, which is a small town right outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. But I grew up a diehard dog, literally for as long as I can remember. I always go back to baby pictures of before I ever even knew what was going on. My parents had me in Georgia gear, so it's all I've ever really known. And to be up here in ball country in these last few years have been really special. But yeah, I would say probably, honestly, about the start of the Richt era, 5 years old, 6 years old, going into kindergarten, were my first memories of actually recalling what happened and actually be able to, when me, Gaines, and Will and Adam all get together and talk about the dogs, that's when I can really start recalling my first memories of, what started this obsession. I just recently got married and I told my wife, I said, I hate to be this brutally honest. I was like, but I love it way more than I should. And I told her, I said, honestly, during football season, babe, I said, my weeks are going to go like the dogs go. And it was so funny because we were talking about getting married. She said, no summer weddings. And I said, that's fine, but we also can't have a fall wedding.
You dang right. That's right.
I had to set it straight from the get-go. But she liked it. So, yeah, I've gotten to bring her to a couple of Georgia games. And she's not a dog herself, but we won't hold that against her. But, yeah, man, for as long as I can remember, the earliest of my memories, I've always been a diehard dog. And in my place, there's no better place to be a fan of. So,
Baylor, let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you this too, Will, in just a second. What is your favorite game other than we're going to take out all the postseason games? All right, so like the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the national championships. Outside of those, what is your favorite Georgia football game within that era?
That I've been to, or just in general?
Just in general.
Yep.
All right, so no postseason. Yeah, I might be stealing one of y'all's, but for me, it's got to be 2012 Florida.
Ooh,
So the reason why, just a little quick answer, is that was my first Georgia-Florida game. I was a sophomore in high school. Yeah. So it was my first Georgia game or first Georgia-Florida game. And, that was the year that we finally broke that daggum curse and finally, pulled through and finally got a hold of Florida down in Jacksonville. And when Malcolm Mitchell caught that slant and took it to the crib, that was just that memory is so vivid in my mind to this day.
Yep.
And to go down there for my first Georgia-Florida game and come out with a win, man, you can't put a price on that.
No, you can't. I can tell you that's something I didn't do. I can tell you.
Yeah,
me neither.
I tell everybody, being up here in Tennessee, if Georgia has to win one game a year, just because of the fan base I'm surrounded by, I hope it's Tennessee. But if I have to go to a game and leave with a victory, there is nothing sweeter in my mind for the regular season than leaving Jacksonville with a win.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, Baylor, big props to you, man. Working for the team, going to the University of Georgia, growing up as a Georgia fan in the state of Tennessee is like finding the good Lord and becoming a Christian living in Kazakhstan and Pakistan. So that's a similarity, man. Yeah. So that's an extra feather in the cap for your dog fandom right there, Baylor. So I
appreciate
that's good stuff.
Good on you,
that's
Baylor. Good on you.
That's good stuff.
All right, Will, you're up. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from. Give us your first Georgia football memory, what you remember growing up, and let it rip.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Gaten said, my name is Will Matthews. I worked with the team from 2017 to 2020. So I was there last year. I knew about on practice number 2 that these two were some damn good dogs. So picked that up real quick.
Great. That's great.
First memory of the Dawgs. My first game was 2000 Tennessee, so the first and only time Sanford Stadium's ever been stormed after they, kicked our tail for all of the 90s, and finally we got them back. The 2002 season is probably the first true season I remember all of it and just being obsessed and, going out in the front yard and pretending to be, a few of the guys we're going to talk about tonight, but, like Fred Gibson, Terrence, David Green. Oh, yeah. I'm not left-handed, so I can't really, imitate that one, but – yeah, no, I guess the early 2000s probably my first, true Georgia football memories. And I grew up in Sanford Stadium. It's what my family does. It's what we still do to this day. And we're psyched for this season, man. Let's go for 3.
Yeah,
there you go, man. I love it. Very, very, very similar right there. Yeah. I love that. That's good stuff.
And I'll ask you the same question, Will. Yeah, good parenting.
Good parenting. Good parenting by Mama and Daddy Matthews. I love it.
Well, let me ask you this: what is your favorite game outside of the postseason Georgia football games?
So it's a little bit of recency bias, but I tell you what, man, there's something special about 2022 Tennessee, man. They get ranked number 1. They come down into our house. Their whole mouth-breathing fan base talks about how Sanford Stadium's not gonna make a difference. It's not gonna matter. And 8 false starts later and 7 sacks later, we kicked their behinds for 60 straight minutes. So, and the rain was just awesome, man. When it started pouring and nobody moved, I was like, okay, this is sweet. This is something special.
It's almost like it revitalized and rejuvenated everybody in that stadium when the rain came. So
it did, man.
Oh yeah,
it was a buzz.
Oh yeah,
man. It was great time.
Great times indeed. Well, let's get into this list. What we are going to do for everybody listening, we each have about 20 people, 20 dogs on our list. Admittedly,
I actually got about. I don't know. I got 16 and then a bunch more in the memory bank.
Yeah, that's me too. So I've got like 10 in my mind and then plus a gajillion, I guess. Yeah. And I'm sure Will and Baylor, you may be the same. But we've got a bunch of names, and we're going to kind of do a snake draft. And we'll each select one, and we'll talk about them. And at the end, we're going to see who has the best list, Adam. And I think
how are we going to grade that?
I don't know. We may leave it up to the people out there. We may let them vote.
Fan vote.
Yep. And everybody remember, this is just Mark Richt, so there will be no Herschel Walker on this list.
Right.
Or,
no Champ Bailey.
No
Garrison
Hines
Hurst.
Ward, no Eric Zier, none of that. We love those guys. We appreciate what they did, but we're going just Mark Richt and Kirby Smart and our favorite. Not who we're saying was the best.
Right.
Just so keep that in mind, and there's no limit to whether if you stack defensive guys or offensive guys.
Or special teams, Adam. Whoa now. Don't. Look, Blake Sailors.
Ty Fricks, then by gosh,
Blake Sailors deserves a spot on this list, dang it.
That's exactly right.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, we should do our favorite kickers.
Some Ryan Rankin. Should I name drop?
Whoa, hold on now.
I might add this as extra content. If we do kickers, and if I had the number 1 pick, it would not be Rodrigo, even though I like Rodrigo.
Billy Bennett?
Billy freaking Bennett, baby.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Hey, he's from Athens, Tennessee, too. I'm almost positive, which is right up the road from me.
Nice.
I'm telling you, man, I loved it because that was before. I'm derailing it already at the beginning.
Go for it.
But that was before the skin tight jerseys. So I mean, it looked like he had a triple X on, like a dress when he went out there to kick. He had to tuck it in and roll. I mean, it was gold. Left-footed kicker too. But anywho. Billy's actually not on this list, but he should be. Anyway, that was just an honorable mention just to see what I did there.
Yeah, I do.
I threw it in there. I threw it in there without even before we started.
You cheated, Adam. Yeah. All right, so we'll start our guests first, obviously. We'll start with Will, and you get the first pick, so it better be good, and then we'll go with Baylor after that. Adam, you're next after that, and I will be.
So I'm going to have to use a sharp or a marker.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Anyway, we're going to get probably anyway, go ahead, Will. Sorry.
All right, so I'd be a fraud if I didn't take this guy. I'm going to go with Noshawn Marino.
Ah, yes.
So I wore number 24 in high school because of him. My favorite anecdote with Noshawn Marino and I was until last year, my Xbox Live gamer tag was Marino for Heisman 2. And I did not change it for 13 years. It stayed the same all the way through. Easily my favorite dog of all time. And then last thing, but running back to the huddle after, like a 27-yard run where you get mauled by a couple of SEC linebackers, you stand up and sprint back to the huddle. It's just objectively cool. So I'm going Noshawn Marino first overall.
I love it, man. Love Noshawn. 7th grade. I was in 7th grade, and my mom emailed my teacher to say we got the running back from New Jersey. We're looking for it. And I still don't understand why he was redshirted in 06. But great pick, Will.
Yeah, that is a good pick. Solid.
I was about to say, I never forget. Y'all remember like those Talking Smack shirts that they had? Yes. I actually went to the 07-08 Sugar Bowl when we played Hawaii, and it was a black shirt, and it talked about doing something like running like Noshawn or something like that. And so I wore it to the game. And then in school we had a dress code, so you couldn't wear a shirt if it didn't have a collar on it, but you could wear a turtleneck. And so I would wear a turtleneck underneath my T-shirt so I could wear my Georgia T-shirt to school. And it was specifically for Noshawn. So
that is amazing.
Good pick, Will.
Good one.
Good start.
Yeah.
Good start. Coming out the gates hot right
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite Noshawn memories right quick, ASU on the road, 08. Yep. Me and you went. There's a slew of other Georgia fans out there. It's so much fun. And obviously the dive in the end zone, that's just iconic. What a great picture. What a great player.
Also, isn't Noshawn the running back that started leaping over defenders?
Yeah.
Michigan?
I mean, he's the first one I remember.
Did anybody do it before him? Michigan. I could be wrong. But
when he leaped over the guy at Central Michigan, man, in 08.
That's the first time I remember seeing it.
I do. That's a good point. That is a real good point. I agree with that. My favorite Noshawn Marino, if we're going to share it, was the LSU game in 08. Very underrated game in Baton Rouge where we killed him. And the cell phone to call me after a big, I think it was like 50-plus yard TD.
Right after, hold on, that was, I think Gary Danielson may have said, and he does not have, or maybe it was Vern, one or the other. They said, and he does not have great speed as he was.
Exactly, pulling away from it.
In the third level, past the safety.
That's
I'm like,
a very underrated game.
Yeah.
Good one.
Good underrated pick there, Will. Yeah.
Great. Love it. Love it, man. Good start.
All right. We'll go with you, Baylor.
For this one, for me, I was telling you guys right before the show started, this dude is the absolute reason I fell in love with Georgia football. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've still got a book called Beloved Dawgs by Lauren Smith to this day that's in my house. And so without further ado, my first pick is David Pollock. The dude is, in my opinion, he's the definition of a DGD, not just on the football field, but what he's done outside of it. He's still in the Athens community. And one thing I love about him is he's still a homer about Georgia, but he also keeps it real. And I just, when he was on game day and everything, you knew who he wanted to pick, but he was very honest and very real and broke it down in a way that I feel like more analysts should do. So for me, David Pollock, I had the 47 jersey out in the yard. Well, you talking about you being Noshawn and wearing 24. I had the David Pollock jersey, and he is the absolute reason I fell in love with Georgia football.
Nice. Love it. Love it,
man. Good pick.
Good pick. I echo everything you said, man. David Pollock is a guy who not only had the talent level, All-American that he was for multiple years at the University of Georgia, but a high motor, high energy guy. Exemplifies DGD. I could go on and on about Pollock, but y'all go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's also keep in mind the last thing that he ever said on College Game Day, because he was let go recently, was he looked Nick Saban in the eye and he said the Dogs are on top now and you guys are coming. Basically said like you're coming after us now. So he left on top in my mind.
Agreed.
And the look on Nick Saban's face after that was just, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I mean,
like he didn't even want to make eye contact with Pollock after that.
It was beautiful. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Exact. Great point, Will. Great point.
Great pick, Baylor and David Pollock.
Yep.
And now with the third pick, dun 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 dun. Adam, go ahead.
Well, I appreciate Clark. You let me have the third pick. Those guys got some guy. I'm going to go a little bit off because of a personal connection I have with this guy. As you will see through this whole draft, I had a very special connection. My childhood, about the age I was at, to the 2005 SEC championship team. And who I'm going with is a guy that I actually got to know his family. And he gave me gloves after games. His first career interception was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I got a picture with him and the ball that he picked off from old Casey Clausen's brother, Richt Clausen, a left-handed quarterback. It's Demario Minter, cornerback. Who played a lot of ball under the Willie Martinez, Brian Van Gorder defenses, and very underrated corner. One thing I'll say about him, he had 2 career interceptions, one at Tennessee, you just alluded to, one in the SEC championship in 2005 when they smoked LSU. And also, Paul Oliver, rightfully so, rest in peace, gets a lot of credit for shutting down Calvin Johnson in 2006. But if you remember, Calvin Johnson didn't do much in 2004 or 2005, and Demario Minter was the primary cornerback on him both of those years when Georgia played Georgia Tech. So very underrated corner in my book. Great guy, DGD. So I know that's just an Adam Thornton.
And Adam,
there. So
but that's what we want. That's what we want. We want favorites, and we want to hear about those stories and those experiences. I mean, growing up with you, I definitely was not as big of a Georgia football fan as you were during that period of time. But I will say, I always remember you talking about Demario Minter. You had his jersey. It was autographed. Number 2. Now, let me ask you this, Adam, because you wore number 2 a lot in sporting,
Yes.
You know, your rec ball and that kind of thing. Was that because of Derek Jeter or Demario Minter or a combination?
A combination. But more so it got to be Demario Minter after a while. But, I mean, Derek Jeter was obviously a big part of that as well, because I was a huge Derek Jeter fan. Still am a big Derek Jeter fan.
Yeah. Good pick, Adam. Demario Minter. That is a name that I bet a lot of people either forgot about or may not even know about.
Go look it up.
Go look him up. Yes.
I ain't gonna say there was no way I would have thought that would have made the list, but I vividly remember a lot of his playing time. So
All right.
Yeah, I can't say Demario Minter made my list either, but you know.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, you didn't have to scratch anything off, did you?
That's
right.
That's right.
All right. Mine, I've sat here and debated for the past 2 weeks on who mine would be. And I've gone through so many different guys, and I've gone from defensive guy to, there's this guy, and then, but I forgot about this guy. And I mean, it's just gone back and forth. But if I had to put if I had to put a title on, if I had to put my favorite Georgia football player title on one guy, I think it'd be Aaron Murray. And I know that's kind of a cliche pick, but man, Murray, to me, exemplifies everything a Georgia Bulldog is. He played with so much heart throughout his it felt like a decade-long tenure at Georgia. But from 2010, the moment he kind of stepped in to 2013, he was a very special player, and he did a lot for the University of Georgia. And man, he played with a lot of heart. Two plays that specifically that stand out a lot to me. 2013 Tennessee, the 70-yard scamper to the end zone, or what? He didn't score, did he?
After losing every single receiver he had,
right? Literally 5 people I think went down before that point. Yeah, you're right. That was kind of the turning point in that game, and then another moment that just stands out and just really shows the heart of Aaron Murray was 2013 Auburn when he risked his body to get in the end zone there at the very end for the go-ahead touchdown. I remember that play was under review, and they called it a touchdown, although I don't actually think he got in. But he played with a lot of heart. Also, think back to 2010 Auburn. And, I mean, he just got destroyed by Nick Fairley. I'm not even going to get down. I'm not going to.
They still show that play to this day. We played there in 19, and to pump up their crowd, they're showing a guy who played there 9 years ago getting rocked. And it's like, well, that's just not relevant anymore.
Yeah, they don't have any highlights.
What else do you expect of those?
But Aaron Murray is going to be my number one. I think he is my all-time favorite dog. Now that I think about it, so
I hear you. Good pick. Yep. Good pick, man. Wish he had the defenses that Georgia's enjoyed the past couple of years. That would have been fun to see. But yeah. Y'all got any comments on AM11?
I think Aaron Murray had a good 4 years in Athens on and off the field.
I can attest to that because Aaron Murray was there when I was there. Overlap last 2 years. But anyway, go ahead, Will.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I got nothing. I'll let you have him, Gaines. He didn't make my list, to be honest with you. So
wow.
he's all yours.
Really?
You know, he is not on mine either.
What?
Yep.
Yo,
I mean, I respect him. I respect him. And I mean, absolutely great quarterback and did a lot and had heart of a line. Heart of the line, Clark. But as far as my personal favorites,
man,
maybe because I was in school at the same time
sure,
he was.
That makes sense.
But it just, I don't have a lot, actually. I have a couple. But anyway, yeah.
Wow.
Or just because he would get my hopes just right there. And then we just kept
okay, hold
there.
up. To be fair, I don't know if that was all on him. It kind of was on our defense. And
I agree, but no, I mean, he was great. He was great, but just as far as this list goes.
Yeah, no,
I mean, you can't
Quarterback
debate him. I mean, he's the SEC all-time leading passer. You know, he still holds that record. Yeah, I mean, there's no arguments. He was awesome.
Y'all are making me regret this now. Gosh. Well,
he was
I
on
get
my
to
list
pick again. Was he on your list, Will?
Sure was.
Okay, perfect.
Makes a great pick.
All right. Well,
okay. Who you going with now?
Now I get to go again because it is a snake draft, and this was also tough. But I think I'm going to go with Nick Chubb.
Oh man!
Yes. I know. Look, I know. Nick Chubb made every single one of y'all's lists. No, Nick Chubb is by far. If I think it'd be 1A, 1B for me in terms of just Georgia football legend, you know, with Aaron Murray, I think. Nick Chubb, man, he was silent. A lot of, because Baylor and Will, you got to work with Nick, or alongside Nick. You didn't work with him, but you worked in the same building that Nick Chubb was in every day. And you got to see, you know, he put in so much work. And that's something that everybody, you know, every Georgia fan knows. But to be in there and to watch him grind day in and day out, and it wasn't just him, it was also Sony Michel. And that might be a guy coming up on one of y'all's lists. But man, Nick just played with such heart, and you could tell he loved to play for the red and black. And when he announced that he was returning for his senior season, man, I think he got a lot of brownie points for doing that. And I think a lot of people respect him in the Georgia football community, as they should. Yep. And it doesn't hurt that he's also killing it in the NFL right now. So arguably top 3 running back. I don't know much about NFL, but I do know
I would have
he's
loved
out there.
to see him. I would have loved to see his final career stats had he not had to miss that year.
Yeah. My favorite Nick Chubb memory, I think might have been his freshman year when he was just going off every week, but someone asked him, why are you not very active on social media in this day and age? You know, social media is very important. And his response was, have you ever seen a commercial for a Lamborghini?
Dang right. Yep. That's great. That is great.
A quick little story from me about Chubb is I'll never forget there was working with the team, as long as the team didn't have a designated team lift, we could work out in the weight room. And I'll never forget one day I had got out of class early, and so I was going to get a workout in before practice, and he was in there on his own, just him and the strength coach, and they were sitting there just doing like a maintenance lift, and the coach looked at him and said, hey, you know, we're just doing a maintenance lift. He's like, you want to just get a little quick one in and get out of here? Or he said, you want to move some weight? And Chubb just looked at him and said, we're moving some weight. And I think it was a squat day, and he was squatting 600 pounds right before practice, and I was just like, this dude is just built different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, he was the humbleness he had that y'all have alluded to, man, and the fact that what he did is guys like him, and I think back, Clark, when we talked about this, that group of those 4 guys that in December of 2016 said they're coming back to the University of Georgia, and being able to, and Chubb being a leader in that group, laid the foundation of what we see today.
Yep.
And my favorite Nick Chubb would be, I think, me personally, was in Little Rock, Arkansas. Wasn't in Fayetteville. They played his freshman year. It was the week after. Well, Gurley didn't play in the Missouri game, but it was after all that stuff happened. And then after the suspension and all that, and then Chubb in Arkansas. I mean, we already saw what he did against Clemson in the opener, but in Arkansas, it was just like, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, what he did all his years, the ambassador he is, and still was and still is, University of Georgia special. Great pick.
Yeah, agreed.
Great pick.
All right, back to you, Adam.
All right, man. Yeah, I mean, everybody's picked some great picks, and I just keep going. But I'm going to go. Well, this one's not. I'm not going to go with the first 3 because there will go back a little bit more obscure, but I'm going to go with one not as obscure. But my favorite quarterback in this era that we're talking about right now is DJ Shockley.
Ooh, good pick.
DJ Shockley. I'm going with DJ Shockley, man, because there's nobody in college football this day and age like Shock, man. I think he did think about transferring to Maryland after his freshman year when Ralph Friedgen was the head coach there, and Maryland was a halfway decent, respectable, kind of top 25 program back then. But he stayed at the University of Georgia. I remember when David Green would come out, Shock would play like the third possession, and the talent level. But when he got the reins in 2005, man, nobody was expecting Georgia to win the SEC championship that year. And I'm still under the belief if he does not get hurt in Arkansas, Georgia beats Florida, and then you have 100% healthy DJ Shockley that year against Auburn, and Georgia runs the table that year. But just his leadership, the way he had the attitude when he was behind David Green in 02, 03, and 04, and redshirted in 01.
Yeah.
How he was, he did that and stuck around, got his chance in 05, won a conference championship as a starter, and I really appreciate that and what he means still today at the University of Georgia and the ambassador he is.
Yeah, and in today's day and age, you see the Justin Fields, they're out. They're out the door if they're not getting the playing time that they want. And
the portal and
really we use Shockley a lot of ways like we did Justin Fields in 2018. But props to Shockley for sticking it out. And
Shock had every third offensive possession. And I will tell you this, one time where it bit Richt in the butt was the 2002 Florida game. Pick 6 Q on Ratliff. I still see it in my head today. But anyway, he did all the good he did outweighs a whole lot of it, of course. But anyway.
Was Shockley on one of y'all's lists, Baylor, Will?
Absolutely. He was on mine. Honestly, I thought that's where Adam was going with his first pick when he said back to the 05 year. I could have sworn he was going to take Shock first round. But
that was it, man.
Number 3.
That's it.
He was a DGD. And he's working, he works with the Georgia Bulldogs.
He took
Radio, right?
Chuck Dowdle's spot.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, back to you, Baylor.
I've got a bunch of people, but I'm going to go ahead and just take this one off the list, and it's super basic. Will was talking about recency bias earlier, but I'm going Stetson. I mean, how do you not have the quarterback that won us 2 national championships and finally got us over the hump, especially just his story as a walk-on. And, Stetson's first year there, they always talk about him being the scout team. That was my senior year. And when people say he tore our defense up, playing like Baker in practice every day. I mean, I will never forget that week in Pasadena where Kirby was just all over our defense because Stetson was, shredding him. He was tearing him to pieces. And his story, and it don't have to be said, but, I joke around saying build a statue, but, name another quarterback that's done that. You talk about a true DGD, somebody that left and came back and stayed at Georgia because he wanted to be at Georgia, put his time in, and then when he got it, he just – I don't know what it is. It was that national championship against Alabama, something clicked, and he just became one of the baddest dudes on the planet. So for me, I got to take Stetson. That 26 years I had waited for that moment, and for him to deliver it, I still see the ball to A.D. Mitchell in the corner. That was right in front of me at the game, and that passing catch was so vivid. That Stetson, I don't have to say anything else, man. He's got to be on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything about Stetson Bennett just speaks for itself, and all of our feelings about it. But unbelievable, 2-time national champion, epitome of DGD.
Yeah, and what's
and our fan base never wavered. We were all there 100% of the time, the whole way. And I personally, that was going to be my pick, Baylor. For me, I was you could attest, I was always a Stetson Bennett guy, never ever wavered. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, that's it. Man. Well, I think we all have similar stories.
The worst part is we've got written proof of Will's support of Stetson Bennett. Yeah,
absolutely. I was just trying to light a fire underneath him. That's all.
It's in the archives.
Exactly.
It's in the archives.
It's in the archives.
Speaking of that, where's Jamie Newman on everybody's list?
or Dwan Mathis. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. We need to do like a top 10 list of the most obscure Georgia football players of all time.
That would be
that's
another
interesting.
Put that down. But anywho.
Yeah, Stetson, man, you're right, Baylor. That is a good pick.
There's nothing else to say.
Really nothing else to say.
Yeah. I honestly, God, I could have said his name and then just mic drop, and that would have sufficed.
I will say
and add the fourth, the emphasis. Stetson Bennett, the fourth drop. Period. Move on. All needs to be said.
I will say the one cool thing about his story is he grew up like we did, in that he was at the games. I mean, his father and family, I would assume, all season ticket holders. Yep. I mean, they went to games. Could you imagine what it must have felt like to have grown up all your life, never seeing your team win a national championship, to then go to that school, to be doubted by that school, to be doubted by the fans that you were once one of, and then to go on and win not one, but 2 national championships and be a Heisman finalist for the first time in a while. Yep. I mean, it's just bizarre. And Disney has got to make a movie. You said that 2 years ago. You said Disney should make a movie. Now they really have to.
Oh, yeah.
So,
anyway. Got to, man. Storybook.
The question is, would it be called the Mailman or the Milkman now?
Oh, the Mailman.
Well,
forget the Milkman.
No, man.
I heard from a little birdie that Stetson hated doing the Milkman ad.
Yeah, I would too. But as old Brian Johnson, ACDC says, money talks, baby.
That is true. Yep. All right, Will, back to you, my friend. Second round, 8th pick.
I'm thrilled this made it back to me. I think Demario Minner going in the first round had something to do with that.
Definitely.
All right, so in 2016, a buddy of mine was his name's Drew Stickney. Shout out Drew. Was telling me like, hey man, I'm bringing some football players out to the fraternity house tonight. Just come by. One of them was Roquan Smith. He went on to become very, very close friends with my buddy Drew, and then with me as well. And I got to go Roquan here. A couple highlights for Roquan's career. Do y'all remember the Roquan 3 and out against Notre Dame, where he went tackle for loss, sack, tackle for loss? Mm-hmm. That one's insane. And then the other thing I got written down here is, you go back and you look at that 2017 defense. I mean, they all had they play with heart, but you look and you're like, geez, we had a lot of guys that would not see the field today.
Yeah, that's true.
And it helps when you have a top 10 NFL pick playing inside linebacker who can run sideline to sideline at freakish speed. So he covered up a lot of holes for the 2017 defense. So Roquan Smith, second pick for me.
That is a great pick. He was on my list. I always tell people I had two extremely vivid memories of that senior year. One would have been the sack, or not the sack, but the quarterback hit against Mississippi State when he just absolutely folded Nick Fitzgerald. And then the other one I'll never forget. It might have been the 3-and-out you're talking about, Will, but the play at Notre Dame where they faked the ball. I guess they faked it to the left, and the quarterback rolled out on a bootleg right, and Roquan literally ran across the field and tackled him on 3rd down. You talk about plucking holes, man. There was so many times I think back to that year where I was like, how many times did Roquan bail us out just because of his natural instinct? Seriously. Great pick.
Yeah, from Montezuma, Georgia, man. I'll never forget being at the Blind Pig during signing day, and he went with UCLA.
Yeah.
And you just thought, God, how did you go to UCLA? And then, of course, everything that transpired, comes to Georgia, which wound up being the greatest decision of his life. And I think the Rose Bowl, obviously Will alluded to it, and everything said dead on, everything everybody says dead on. But I think about just those big 3rd down plays with short yardage and how he just stonewalled them.
Yeah.
I mean, it just felt, and talented guys on the edge. You think of Hollywood Brown and C.D. Lamb and some of those guys that were getting to the edge, and how, just the straight line speed he had getting down
as
there.
a linebacker.
But exactly right, what Will just said, and special. Yeah, special from
Montezuma,
Georgia, baby.
The Montezuma missile. Yeah, that's my fun. That's my trivia. We play trivia sometimes going down Florida, towards Florida. It keeps us entertained. But that is one of my questions: is who is named, or who has the nickname the Montezuma missile? So good pick. Good pick, Will. All right. Back to you. Back to you, Will.
This one's easy, man. Todd Gurley.
God bless. This dude is taking all my picks.
Oh, yeah.
Couple reasons why. The 2012, the whole year of 2012, when he, goes from taking the kickback against Buffalo, has a 50-yard run against Buffalo, and you're like, okay, I know we got this 5-star Keith Mitchell, but who the heck is this guy? The 2012 SEC championship game, we would have gotten the doors blown off of us if we didn't have Todd Gurley playing for us that day. They got like 250 yards in the second half, and we just kept giving it to Gurley, 5 yards a clip, 7 yards a clip. And then my freshman year of college was the 2014 year where he was on pace to get a Heisman, stupid NCAA. But the free Tud Gurley Twitter account, the free Tud movement, and then last but not least, I know it didn't count. Sanford Stadium rocked when he took that opening kick against Auburn back, and I just, it was Phantom blocking the back on Ryan Rankin there, but just an awesome player. I mean, had an awesome NFL career, and just embodies what it means to be a damn good dog.
Dang right, man. It was unbelievable, the talent that running back room in 2014.
Oh my gosh.
And my favorite Gurley moment is the kickoff return against Clemson, man. Of course, me and Clark living where we do.
That whole game in general. That whole game.
Living where we do in Northeast Georgia, we hate Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
Hate them. I mean, everybody hates them, but I mean, it's a special kind of hate.
Yeah, it's Baylor hating Tennessee kind of hate.
Yeah. So
absolutely,
them doing that and just it would have been to go back and see if he, as Will alluded to, if he could have played the whole 2014 season. Definitely a Heisman Trophy, man. And I mean, just special player, special talent, man.
I think my favorite Gurley memory was 2012 Georgia Florida. Right up the middle, scored the first touchdown, I believe. Yeah, and did the Gator chomp and
Yep.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely.
Worth every single inch on that penalty.
He had a big run against him in 13 too.
Yeah, he did. And he looked gassed after it.
Oh yeah, he did.
He was out of shape.
He was
13.
coming off injury. Yeah, he was. That's how good he was in college, though, man. He was like playing at 75% and still running by all these guys.
Yes, sir, man.
You can't forget the hurdle against Tennessee in 14 either. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, yeah, good point, Baylor. Good point. That's an underrated game too.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
that was a shootout. It shouldn't have been a shootout, but it was a shootout.
Mm-hmm. 2012 was a straight shootout, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was like 37-33, something crazy like that.
It was something insane.
I don't remember.
It was like 51-45 that in 14, I'm pretty sure, too. It was insane.
Yeah.
It's too close for comfort.
Good pick there with Todd Gurley. That was definitely on my list. All right, back to you, Baylor.
Yeah, this was another kind of earlier days for me. I'll give y'all a hint. He changed positions when he went from Georgia to the NFL. But I'm going for the defensive guy, Mr. Thomas Davis.
Yep, on my list.
Man, you talk about – so I played safety in high school, and I always used to go back and watch just Georgia guys that I love watching playing defensively. And, man, that dude was just a wrecking ball. I mean, he absolutely laid the boom. Him and the other guy back there with him, old Greg Blue, they were so much fun to watch. And, I'm a Falcons fan at heart too, but I even, no matter where Thomas went, even though he was with the Panthers for all those years and being a big rival of the Falcons, I couldn't help myself but pulling for him. I mean, Walter Payton Man of the Year in the NFL, and honestly, just one of the best football players that defensive football players that Georgia's ever had come through, in my personal opinion. So Thomas Davis for me, that's my third pick.
I love it, man. That's right in my wheelhouse of my favorite area. And I think a lot of times I think about Thomas Davis. I think about the 2004 LSU game, the revenge, getting beat by them 2 times in 03. They come to Athens. Nick Saban coached team. Kirby Smart on that staff as well, and we just run them out of the house.
Yeah,
just run them
that has
out
to
of
be.
Sanford,
I mean, thinking about that game, that has to be one of the worst SEC losses Nick Saban's ever faced.
Oh, yeah.
A point differential,
45-16.
It was bad.
I'm pretty sure that I'm terrible with numbers, but I'm pretty sure it was close to that. And Thomas Davis, I think last thing I'll say about him was as much good as he did for the red and black in Georgia when he was at Georgia on the field, what he did after his career as a Georgia man off the field, and his time in the NFL, man of the year, all that good stuff, and the ambassador he is speaks even more volumes about him.
I've got to put somebody on my list now that you say ambassador.
Yeah.
As an honorable mention.
All
right.
Oh, man.
Let me ask you this, Will, because you know about some Thomas Davis. Was Thomas Davis and Greg Blue the best safety duo in Georgia football history?
They'd get sent to Guantanamo if they were hitting the way that they did back then.
That's right. That's exactly right. They wouldn't make it through a game.
No.
There was nobody running across the middle on that defense.
No.
Heck no. But yeah, they're up there. I'm sure some of the early 2000s Miami safety duos, when you look on paper, were foolish. But yeah, the Greg Blue, Thomas Davis duo, I can't imagine being a little small, undersized slot guy trying to go across the middle, and you got 17 and 10 waiting on you just to absolutely just cheap shot you. So yeah, they're up there for sure.
Oh yeah, piggybacking on Will's sentiment too. You had them at the third level, but then you had in the second level, you had Odell Thurman, who had to get out of the Athens Clarke County Penitentiary every week to go play. So, there were some bad men on those football
They really
teams,
were,
man.
yeah.
That was good times.
Marcus Howard? No, that was later. Never mind. Excuse me.
That was later, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Honorable mention. Hawaii game.
Nice.
Is it my pick though?
Yeah, we're back to you. Third round.
Guys, I'm gonna let everybody have the girlies and everything we've been
the
talking
cute
about.
ones.
I'm just gonna go with my favorite that are just off the wall and everything, but the ones everybody's need to be mentioned. I'm gonna go again. Guess what year?
2005.
2005, from 02 to 2005. I think it's argued after this man graduated from the University of Georgia. Well, Paul Oliver was good the next year, but after that was some very, 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 very pedestrian cornerback play after this man left. Opposite side of my first round pick to Mario Mentor, Tim Jennings.
Oh,
Tim Jennings.
Tim
Jennings. I knew that was coming.
Tim Jennings, man, he doesn't look like DeAndre Baker. He doesn't look like Keely Ringo or Kamari Lassiter. You know, the build of what you see now at a Kirby Smart cornerback deep. But he played a lengthy NFL career, man. And for his size, he had a knack for getting the football and making some monstrous interceptions at key moments. Pick six against Matt Flynn in the SEC Championship 2005.
Oh, yeah,
I remember sticking that ball out. A week earlier from that, if everybody remembers, on a very cold night in Atlanta, Georgia beat Georgia Tech 14-7 with Reggie Ball. Another guy who should be added to this list, Reggie Ball.
Yeah, he was a DGD.
Don't take picks.
That's right. So they were driving to score the game, and he stepped in front of a pass that picked off Reggie Ball. So what I'm saying, just clutch play after clutch play, man. Was a starter on the 2002 SEC Championship team as well, I believe. He might not have started, but a lot of meaningful minutes and big time plays. And I just think for a guy who was undersized, held his own at the cornerback position, and I think one of the best cornerbacks. I think the best quarterback in the Mark Richt era.
Whoa.
More so than Tim Wansley. I mean, and then we get to the Vance Cuffs and Brian Evans of the world after that. I mean, when you get to about 07 to 09, and then Asher Allen, Brandon Boykin, some of those guys. I'm going to say it. Tim Jennings was the best cornerback in the Mark Richt era.
Wow.
I don't know anybody off the top of my head that I would argue that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Also led the NFL in interceptions in 2012.
Great point.
Hey, look at that.
That's a great fact.
That's a good fact right there.
That's a good one. The Bears. Yep.
Nice. I don't have anything really to say about Tim Jennings. I mean, you mentioned the pick in the SEC Championship. That's really all about remember from him. I didn't know a ton of names back then, but yeah, Tim Jennings. Not bad.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, you really are sticking to the 2005 era, which is great.
Pick, I'll get out of it though.
No, you don't have to. I mean, these are your favorite. These are your favorite. All right. I get two back to back. Thank goodness. I've been waiting patiently. And I have been hoping that nobody would take either of these guys. The first guy I'm going to go with is Big Jarvis Jones. And
I knew that was
that
coming.
probably wouldn't make a lot of Georgia football fans' list. It may. Maybe not top 5 favorite. But I don't know. There's something about Jarvis when he came in. I think 2011 is when I really became unhealthy obsessed with Georgia football. I mean, I was going to every single game with Adam, and Adam's created a monster in me. I hope y'all know. But anyway, no, Jarvis Jones, when he came in from USC after his neck injury, right?
Yeah.
Came in and, man, he made a big impact from the get-go. 2 games that obviously stand out the most are 2011 and 12 Georgia-Florida games. I think he needs the title Gator Killer because he was. I mean, he was 2 for 2 against the Gators and just played with a lot of heart. He played fast off the edge. He was a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball. You know, a lot of times we want to talk about playmakers being the offense side of the ball, but he was on the defense side of the ball, made some big plays. And I love Jarvis. He's with the team now. He works with the team. Yeah. He didn't have a very fruitful career in the NFL, but you know, he's given back to the team that he loves the most, and that's the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, man. Jarvis Jones.
I think as long as I've known you, Gaines, Jarvis, I'm pretty sure actually when we started working together my sophomore year, your freshman year, you told me that at that time Jarvis was probably your favorite dog in that moment, and especially in most recent years. You know, we were 2 years removed from him, but like you said, the Florida games stick out so clear.
The Florida games definitely do, because that's the first time in 11 and 12 that Georgia's beat Florida back-to-back since The 80s.
Well, let's be honest. That was the first time that was like the second time we beat them since 2000. So, yeah.
100% the first time we go back-to-back, which flipped the series at that point in time. I know, 14, 15, 16, we're not good. But flipped it back around, get consecutive.
Good things only, Adam. Good things only.
That's right. But flipped it back to what we have now, broke a terrible. But, yeah, great DGD.
All right, I'm going to stick on the defensive side of the ball for my next pick. So just to clarify, I want to make sure everybody's aware where we're at in this thing. We are in the 4th round now. Man, God, I think I want to stick on this defense. Yeah, I'll go with the defense side of the ball. I want to go with a guy. This is tough, man. It's off the 2021 defense. I'll give you that.
There it is.
One of two guys I'm trying to pick between. You know what? I'm going to go with this guy. Nolan Smith.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
wow.
absolute.
I thought you were going with JD.
You thought I was going who?
Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis? No, I'm I love Jordan Davis, and maybe he'll make somebody's list. I love Nolan Smith, man. He is a bona fide leader. And when he went down last year, you could just tell he wanted to still be a part of what was happening because he knew, as did we all, that it was going to be a special year if we just kept going. And Nolan was kind of he was putting coal in the furnace, and he was on the sidelines hyping guys up, coaching them up throughout the game, talking X's and O's with his teammates. Just very well-spoken and a great leader. He had obviously a lot of raw talent too, so just a heck of a player. Love Nolan Smith, man, and he's going to do great things in Philly.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, Clark.
Yeah, I think he truly embodies, of all the players of the Richt and Kirby era, I think Nolan Smith truly embodies the most what it means to be a damn good dog and a Georgia Bulldog. He's as good a representation of the university as we could possibly have. So I totally love that pick.
I agree. I love it, man. And as you talked about, I think it's shown even more, which said when he was on the sideline, knowing his career at the University of Georgia was over, but you just saw him on the sideline, coaching up his guys, man, really firing them up, being there supportive, and you could tell how passionate he was and how much it meant to him.
Yeah.
Great leader.
That's
what you got to have. You got to have guys like him to win national championships.
You do. Yeah.
Period.
And not just
the leadership,
on the
not
field.
the talent, but the leadership.
Right.
All the way around, on and off the field.
Exactly. And it begs the question: who is going to be stepping up this year in Nolan's
Something
shoes?
we'll have to talk about.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right. Let's see. Back to you, Adam.
Oh man, I got two different guys that are very, very opposite. But all right, I'm going to leave the guy I'm talking about because he should be. What? No, I'm going to go ahead and take him because he needs to be took. He needs to be took, even though I was going to go with more obscure picks. And his story is not yet completed yet at the University of Georgia. Okay. But he's already done enough that in 2 seasons, he is already a DGD. And it's Brock Bowers, man.
I thought you were going with Vlad McConkey. No,
I mean,
well, him too.
Yeah, but Brock Bowers, I think what I love the most is not only because he's a freak on the field, it's because the man is so humble. He is from Napa Valley, which you would think, and I'll just be honest, being a judgmental take here, being from Napa Valley and being as good at football and a physical just monster as he is, you would think he'd be the most arrogant son of a gun in the world. I would think. But he is the complete opposite of that, man. It's all about George. It's all about the team. He doesn't want to talk about himself, as selfless as can be, and he is by far the best player out of the 22 that's on the field. It don't matter who is on the field with him. He could have played in the NFL in 2021.
Maybe 2020, honestly.
I mean, he is an absolute just freak.
Is it safe to say he's the best Georgia tight end of all time?
Yes. There's an argument.
Wait a minute.
There's an argument.
The best ball
I'm going to say it. You're going to say it? I'm going to go ahead and say it. After this year, he might be argued that he might be the best Georgia player to ever put on the red and black. From a talent standpoint. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think
he's up there for sure.
I mean, he's still got a full year to play.
Right.
He's still got a full year to play.
My favorite Brock Bowers story. So I think I can tell this story because I've seen some of these clips on ESPN during our game. So I was still working for the team in 2020. It was right when COVID had hit, and all these guys, these high schoolers, they've still got to get recruited. So we're getting sent clips, and I'm uploading into the system of guys, running routes, playing, one-on-one with their other DB friends, whatever it may be. And every single day I'm going and I'm uploading Brock Bowers like chopping wood and running up hills and doing like flipping tires and all this stuff. Nothing football related. And he was at the top of our board, and I was like, man, we really want this kid. Like, what is so special about him? And then the Clemson game shows up in 21. You're like, oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
They knew what they were doing. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just how humble he is. I just had to take him there.
Yeah, that's a great pick, Adam.
That was my next pick. So
I'm sorry. I should have
stole Baylor's.
It's all right. It's all right. Hey, at least he got taken. I'm okay as long as he got on the board.
Yep. Who you got, Baylor?
I've got a couple different guys. So Adam talked about a personal one earlier, so I'm going to go with a personal one here. I'm sure, Gaines, you already know who I'm going to take. I'm going with the old tight end, Jeb Blazevich. To a lot of y'all, you might not necessarily know who he was, but to me, he's one of my best friends in the world. I never forget my freshman year at Georgia. It was fall camp, and we were sitting at the training table getting food. And, like I said on this podcast, I am a diehard Georgia fan, so I follow recruiting way more than a 27-year-old kid should. And I get way too into it, and I get so mad when we lose recruits and stuff. And so, of course, Jeb's there, and I know exactly who he is. I'm like, oh, this is the number one tight end in our class. We got him from Charlotte. He's coming down. He's going to be awesome. And he just kind of takes his time to introduce himself to me and talk to me. And I was a fangirl, I'm not going to lie. I've kind of gotten past that, but it was at that moment, something we just clicked. And over 4 years, man, he became one of my best friends. I was fortunate enough to be in his wedding. I was fortunate enough to have him in mine. And when you talk about just human beings, there's not many people better than that man right there. I don't know anybody in my life I've ever met that has met him, that he hadn't had a positive impact on. And so you talk about being a DGD and putting on a good reputation for the University of Georgia. He's one of my best friends in the world. So Jeb Blazevich.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think, I didn't know him, obviously, like you didn't know him at all. But from the stories you heard, he was I actually knew Charlie Warner's family a little bit. And from what they said, I spoke of Jeb and the influence he was on Charlie. And all secondhand from his family, Charlie's family, and everything. It seemed like there was a great group of guys in the tight end room during that era.
Miles McGinty too, I think, and
all those guys. We all after games we used to all go over to their house and just have bonfires and just build relationships and friendships, and they're all great people. Charlie almost made my list as well. So they're great guys.
Jeb is so funny too, man. Like, he's so witty, and he comes up with the best one-liners. He's such a dad, man. Jeb was a DGD. Yeah, I like that pick, Baylor. And
Jeb, if you're listening to this, just know we're giving you a shout out, buddy.
Yeah. He made some big plays too throughout his career. Big blocks, big time.
I'm about to say one of the best blockers we had. Yeah, without a doubt,
for sure.
Our start of our senior year going into that Rose Bowl run, they had actually moved him down the depth chart, and I think going into week 1 against App State, he was number 4 on the chart, and by week 2 he was already starting again because he was the best blocker we had on that roster. So,
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Did the dirty work for us. You need those guys.
Yeah, you do. Selfless guys on the line of scrimmage.
Love it.
All right. We're back to Will. Will, you've been waiting patiently, man.
Yeah, so I will I guess there's a theme to my picks. I guess I have 2 picks in a row, so I could split it up a little bit, but I'm going with Sony Michel.
Nice. Yeah.
Jazz
There you
hands.
go.
Love it.
Big running back guy over here.
Apparently, it's my favorite position on the Dawgs. What else is there to say about Sony, man? I mean, the entire 2017 season, I like to call them the core 4 between Sony, Chubb, Lorenzo, and Davin that really, Adam, you mentioned it earlier, really built the foundation to where we are today. Like, we wouldn't be here without those 4. So the Rose Bowl, the 2017 Florida game, really just, the whole, the year where we could barely move the football except for giving him the ball. That was 2015 after Chubb got hurt. Just, I think we're all going to, every Georgia fan who truly loves the Dawgs is always going to remember him running us back to the national championship in Atlanta. And then the world ended and nothing else happened 7 days later. So I'm going with Sony Michel with my 4th pick.
Nice.
Love it, man. I love it. Great pick. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
Great
I remember the day he committed, and we were in high school, and I was excited to get him.
Oh yeah,
I didn't really know why,
South Florida, man.
Yeah,
big pick or big pickup.
He was like the number 1 overall running back and like the top 5 player in the country that year.
Was he number 1?
He was the number 1 running back.
Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Wow.
Shoot, was he from American Heritage?
Yeah, he was. It was him and Isaiah McKenzie both came that year.
McKenzie was a good one too.
Yeah, Sonny was DGD. I love the jazz.
Todd Grantham at the Blind Pig talking about Isaiah McKenzie.
You met Todd Grantham at the Blind Pig.
Yeah, he came to address us at the Blind Pig during the signing day. Back when signing day was right.
Yeah.
Back when signing day was good. Huh? Do what now?
Third downs with them.
I couldn't hear him. What did he say?
One more time.
Did you talk about third downs with?
No, I did not. I was just sitting in the crowd eating some onion rings, and he just was going over the class and everything, and was talking about Isaiah McKenzie coming in.
So you're telling me he came to the Blind Pig to address the fans of it?
I have a video
That
of
is
him.
bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, it was wild. He was just there, and they gave him a microphone, and he was talking away. And, that's back when there was just one recruiting day, and it was huge. You took off school, work, whatever, to go meet the Blind Pig, go to the breakfast buffet, and grown men trying to figure out where 18-year-old men are going to college. I mean, great times. But anyway, we've lost that. That's the art we'll tell our kids about. Because recruiting, I mean, But anyway, wait a minute. How many rounds are we going? Because we could do this all night.
Oh, well, you really could. Yeah, no, this is the last round.
Is it?
Starting with Will.
Starting with Will.
Honorable. So we can
And a few honorable mentions
all night if we need to. Yeah.
So we'll go with Will. This is the 5th round. The I don't even know, 16th pick now. No, we're past that. 21st pick. So yeah, go ahead, Will.
Oh God! All right. So out of my list of 40 players, this is gonna be tough to figure out which direction I want to go. I'm gonna go Jordan Davis.
Ooh,
nice.
I'm going JD. JD was one of the nicest players I ever interacted with. Just truly a better human than he is player, which he's a pretty darn good player too. So. Our run defense, whenever he wouldn't be able to play, it was kind of crazy to see the yards per carry with and without him. It truly could be like 2-yard difference. And my favorite JD story is his freshman year. He came in as we all know the story. He came in pretty large, and we basically told him you can't practice until you get to a certain weight. And he would spend every single day during practice just running down and back in the end zone. And the second he hit that weight, he started against LSU in 2018. I think he started every other game of his career. So I'm going Jordan Davis there. I'm calling the Big Teddy Bear.
The Big Teddy Bear. I like it.
That's a great pick, Will. Great pick. And
Great pick.
I remember what you're talking about when he was trying to drop weight. He was huge. I mean, he's a huge human being, but yeah, I mean, he's just so out of shape. And I remember us doing box drills. I guess this was in winter, and we were filming it. And you'd see one guy, I mean, a good 20 yards behind everybody else, and it was JD. And I mean, he just kept working and kept working, get that weight down. And man, what he turned into for the University of Georgia was huge, and he made such a big impact. Like you said, both on and off the field, he's a great guy. I bet he was really fun to be around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think the band, when he directed the band at the end of at his senior day, and all those players love him because the one thing I say about JD is he treated every single person the same in the building. There was no sticking your nose up because, oh, you're a video guy or you're a custodian. He truly was just a kind human being to everybody he interacted with. So I gotta have JD.
Yeah,
that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Good pick.
Love
it. That's a strong last pick there for you, Will.
Yep.
And so now we'll go to Baylor.
I've got like 5 or 6 guys that I'm trying to decide between right now. Okay, somehow this guy's made it this far, so I'm going to go ahead and take him. AJ Green. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the best receiver to come through Georgia. I don't think there's any question about that. Maybe Brock Bowers after this year's said and done, but pure wide receiver, I don't know that there's ever been a better wide receiver to come through. I mean, my mind goes immediately back to the game against Colorado and just a ridiculous one-hand catch behind him. And then to go on in the NFL and do what he did, in my opinion, he was underrated in the NFL. I feel like he was kind of slept on, but just year in, year out was a 1,000-yard guy with the Bengals. And, I mean, he's also one of those guys that, went to work, did his work, and stayed quiet and super humble, very soft-spoken, but he spoke largely on the field. So I'll go with AJ Green.
I love it, man. I love that pick. AJ, obviously, like you alluded to, one of, if not the most talented wide receiver at the University of Georgia. And one thing you hate about it was he didn't play on the best Georgia football teams. His sophomore and junior year were not great years for the University of Georgia. So I think that's kind of puts them on, and people don't think, I guess what I'm trying to say, I mean, obviously not for individual reasons, but because there wasn't very memorable team moments when he was on the field then. And I hate that he gets overshadowed by that some, but absolutely just freak talent, great NFL career, man.
Yeah. I agree.
Shoot, yeah.
All right. Back to you, Adam.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could go back to some more 05 guys, but I'm not.
All right. This is your last pick.
I'm not going to. I mean, I could say guys like Sean Bailey, who was he was a good guy. You know, I mean, he had some good moments in 05, two bombs to him in the SEC championship. You know, I could talk about Thomas Brown, great runner, you know, offense coordinator right now in the league. Just those type of guys. I could, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. We've gone how many picks? And correct me if I'm wrong. Has there not been an offensive lineman, any O-line?
There has not been. I was literally just thinking about that. So are you going to take one?
I'm going to take one.
I like it.
And I'm going to take one who I think was the epitome of a DGD on the offensive line. There's many you could say, but there's one that stands out to me. And going back to those eras of Georgia football we just alluded to that didn't get as much love, I'm going with Ben Jones.
Nice.
Ben Jones
on my list.
I think there was recruiting videos of him at camps, man, where people couldn't get past him. They had to tell him to slow down, you know. And I think back, I think that he was just had a great NFL career. I think he just got released, actually.
Really?
But I mean, I think 11 years in the league if he doesn't get picked back up. But I mean, from Alabama. Where where he went to high school at, and he came in, man, a hard-nosed guy. I think of Ben Jones. My favorite Georgia Tech game is 09 when they upset them when they were a top 10 team and we run the state game. And of course, the year before that, they upset us in Athens and took the hedges and had them in their mouth. And Ben Jones just ripped the turf up and ate it.
Yeah,
and I just think that
there's a picture.
Mouth, so,
he's got yellow paint.
Yeah. So I went with Ben Jones because he was on my list and we had no O-line. So I was just going to go with him.
I like that. I respect that.
Give the O-line a little love.
Yeah.
I've got 3 or 4 honorable mention of those coming up. So I got you on those guys.
Same here. Good pick. All right. Well, I guess I got to finish this off pretty strong. And oh my gosh, this is tough, y'all. This is really tough. I got 2 guys, 2 totally different eras. But I'm going to go with because this is about our favorites.
Yep.
I'm going to go with David Green. Quarterback. And I tell you, that is the one and only jersey I ever owned was a number 14 David Green jersey. David Green was who I kind of first grew up watching, wear the red and black, and I could always recognize number 14, because I thought it was just the most bizarre thing to see a guy throw left-handed. Yeah. You know, it was just bizarre to me. I always assumed everybody threw football right-handed. And you got to keep in mind, I was about 5 when I started really watching Georgia football. But no, David Green, though, I loved him. He's just a classy guy. I don't know how else to describe him. And even off the field, since then, he's been a big ambassador for the program, and love everything he stands for. So David Green's my guy.
Did you know that him and David Pollock played Little League football together?
I didn't. I knew they were roommates, but I didn't know that.
And did you know Jake Fromm was in the Little League World Series?
Yes.
I'm sorry, that was just a joke.
What am I?
Oh, no, it's just everybody. It was brought up every broadcast. You know, David Pollock and David Green were
I actually didn't know that.
Did you know?
I knew Jake Fromm played the World Series. I actually did not know. No, I knew that.
Yeah.
What's really cool, though, David Green and David Pollock, and this really solidified my love for David Green back in the day. We went to visit David Green and Pollock. Pollock wasn't there. I think he was somewhere else. But this was back when they were, roommates with our cousins, Chuck and Walt.
They weren't roommates. They
side by side. Yeah. And they knew each other. They had a connection there. So anyway, we went out there, and I remember that exact parking lot we threw the football with David Green back and forth, and it was just the coolest thing, getting to see your childhood hero and throwing a football with him. So that was a great time, and man.
A lot of big wins, man. Think of the 4th and 19 throw to Michael Johnson on the Plains to seal the East. First time Georgia had won the East, and the first time and obviously was quarterback for the first time they won the SEC championship in 20 years.
Yeah.
Some big guys. Yeah, I love David Green. Childhood memories for sure.
All right, that pretty much wraps it up. Here's what we're going to do, because I know we all have several guys left over for honorable mentions. And listen, we could probably sit here for another 5 hours talking about our favorite Georgia football players, but we are going to wrap this up. We'll start with, how do we start this thing? Oh, we start with Will. So Will, we'll have you give us just any honorable mentions that you may have. Baylor, you'd be next, and then Adam, and then me.
Yep.
And hey, hold on. Let's limit it to 3. Okay, 3 guys.
Okay. So Adam stole my thunder. If his name didn't get brought up during the episode, I was going to take Reggie Ball in the last round. That was going to happen. I've got some notes written down for my guy here, for damn good dog, Reggie Ball. 0-4 against the Dogs. 2003, he was 8 of 16 for 80 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick. 2004, 13 of 31 for 141 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. The infamous fourth down call.
Oh, that's great.
Fourth and ball. 2005, 18 of 35, 155 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. And 2006, 6 of 22 for 42 yards and 2 picks.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I love
So
it.
I was actually going to take him. I 100% was going to take him as
amazing.
my last pick. We mentioned him a few times. Greg Blue, the Vanderbilt hit, just picking up a poor son of a gun and planting him into the other's core. And then my last one will probably be Christopher Smith. Just
great pick.
A true big time playmaker. I remember the Clemson game. I live up in Charlotte now, so I had a bunch of buddies staying with me, and we all spent the entirety of the rest of the night just screaming Christopher Smith over and over and over again because of that pick 6. So those would be my 3 honorable mentions.
Love it.
Great.
Love it. Love it.
Yep. Baylor, what about you?
I told you, Adam, I had an offensive lineman for you. I'm going to go David Andrews.
Yeah. Good one.
Yeah, I love him, man. He's as good of a dude as it gets. Still a huge ambassador for the University of Georgia, and just one of the most down-to-earth guys. I was lucky to be around him my freshman year, and he probably has no idea who I am and probably never will. But every time he ever saw me, man, he always just made me feel like I wasn't just a worker, like I actually meant something to the team. So that was really cool for me, David Andrews.
And he's had Tom Brady touch his butt.
Yeah, that's true.
Not everybody.
All right. My second one I'm going to go with is Ben Watson.
Dang, Baylor.
Good one.
Yeah, I feel like that's just – anytime you watch him on TV, man, as far as what a role model should be for anybody, just a great Christian man overall, and a DGD, a huge ambassador for the University of Georgia. And, you know, this play wasn't at Georgia, but I still just – you've seen it time and time again when they talk about hustle. The play with him chasing down the guy from the opposite 99-yard, chasing him down and tackling him, you know, that's just the kind of guy he was.
He ran down Champ Bailey.
Yeah, Champ Bailey, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was a 99-yard pick 6, and Champ Bailey thought he was about to score.
He ran down from the opposite side of the field all the way down 99 yards. So Ben Watson will probably be my second one. And then, God, I've got so many other ones I could go with here. Oh, I'll go Ben Cleveland. That was just a personal one. Yeah.
Big
That was just a
countries.
personal one. Yeah, that was just a personal one for me. He battled through quite a bit of injuries at Georgia, but man, when he was healthy, he was a unit. Man, he made some great blocks, and playing with the Ravens this year, hoping he gets a starting chance, but also one of my good buddies, and I keep up with him quite frequently. So those would be my 3: David Andrews, Ben Watson, and then Ben Cleveland.
Nice.
Old Ben.
The old Ben. What about you, Adam?
All right, man. I'm gonna go. Number 1 was Trey Battle, another undersized secondary player in that era. I think primarily of the honk if you intercepted Brandon Cox, who was another guy in Reggie Ball lore, the Auburn quarterback. He had Trey Battle had 3 picks, a big upset 37-15 win against the top 5 Auburn team when Georgia was unranked on the Plains. Trey Battle, he was great. He was great. Tell you, let's see, I'm going to get Sean Bailey. I mentioned him earlier, but talking about him, caught 2 of the first touchdowns from DJ Shockley bombs in the 05 SEC championship game. I think he was a very underrated receiver, had a decent career, had some touchdown catches in the Auburn blackout as well in 07 from Stafford. I'm going to also –
Georgia's finest.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. So
went to my high school.
Oh, did he? I'll be dang.
Yeah, he's from my area.
How about that? Love it. Love it. You could also add Mom Masqua in there. I won't talk about him, but the other one I was going to talk about was Dominic Sanders.
No, Adam.
I really enjoyed him in the secondary. You know, he's a guy who he had a knack for the football. Made some big interceptions in the Rose Bowl. That one kind of fell in his lap. But big guy who started from his freshman year on. And, you know, kind of had some ups and downs at the University of Georgia as far as team transition from Richt to Kirby. And I don't know. I just kind of always liked him in the secondary position in third level there.
Nice. Good pick. Good picks. All right. I'm going to go with N'Kobe Dean. Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, he was on my list.
I love the leadership of Nakobe Dean, and one of my favorite plays, and we all know this, we've all seen it now, because we've probably watched this a million times, is the national championship game, the first one in 2021 season, 2022, up in Indianapolis, and Channing Tindall, I guess, just totally whiffed and forgot his assignment, and Nakobe went and made the pass deflection, whatever. He got up in Channing Tindall's face and started yelling at him, "Hey, let's go." And next play, Channing made up for it and had a huge, what was it, third down sack or fourth down? No, it was third down. Third down sack on Bryce Young. Love Nakobe Dean. We got to meet his father, Georgia-Tennessee game, 2021. Just a great family, very humble, and I love them.
Good pick.
The second one, right behind him, that game, Lewis Seen. Lewis Seen is one of those sneaky underrated guys on that 21 defense. And you want to talk about a safety. Yeah, you want to talk about safety that will come downhill and lay the wood. It was Lewis Seen. I always loved how he just had his dreads just over his eyes the whole time. Yep. I just like that persona. He was just a mysterious kind of guy. But I liked it. He was cool. He was a cool dude. And then my third and final honorable mention, I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift. I'm kind of surprised nobody took him.
Yeah. No, that's true, man. You think about that. My favorite SEC championship 2017, we hit that corner. That was kind of the nail in the coffin, and the real that's when you realized that we were going to the playoffs.
Right. He was on your list, Baylor?
Yeah, he was on my list.
What about yours?
Hey, don't forget Kirby running step for step with him on that sideline either.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
DeAndre Swift, though, man, loved him. And his recruitment video was awesome, too. I don't know if y'all remember that. Man, he's a cool dude. And also the Kentucky game in 2018.
That cutback, oh my
gosh, man. Unbelievable.
Adam mentioned it, but the nail in the coffin thing in 28, he had the one in the SEC championship game against Auburn in 17, Florida in 18, Kentucky in 18. I think there was one more I'm missing there, but he truly was like he'd take a ball. Next thing you know, it's 50 yards and it's
Notre Dame game.
It's over.
The hurdle Notre Dame game.
The dead leg,
filthy too.
Just the dead
leg was nasty.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty.
He loved my mom's cookies too.
Oh, he liked your mom's cookies.
Talking about recruiting videos, though, if you want an honorable mention, I don't know if it was as good as it was Isaiah Wilson from New York, lineman, or am I drawing a blank? Or is that right?
He was Isaiah from New York.
Yeah. His recruitment video with the did any of y'all tune in and think, what in the heck am I watching when we watched a high school Christmas pageant?
Oh, yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Yes. What about Jeremiah Holloman, I think Fromm, and maybe Nate McBride? Y'all remember that with the Santa Claus skit or whatever?
Yeah.
That was pretty cheesy.
All right, that's the next draft. Favorite all-time recruiting videos. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, look, y'all, we appreciate it, fellas. Thank y'all so much for joining us, Baylor and Will. We've had a great time. We're going to have to do this again.
Man. Brought a lot to the show.
Y'all have done a great job, and this was a fun time. And maybe, hopefully, you guys at home or in the car, Adam. I think a lot of people listen to us in the car. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed this. And, hey, it's going to be football season here pretty shortly.
Yes, sir. Again, it was not who we thought was the best to ever play. It was our personal favorites, and I know everybody's screaming right now at the red light everywhere. How'd you forget X? Or, forget that. Comment below on this video or message us. Text Clark. Let him know who he forgot. Text him about 3 o'clock in the morning. He enjoys that then. So do that. Let him know who we forgot and everything. And let us know your favorites. Give us the top 5 of your favorites. Comment and let us know. And we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Will, Baylor, appreciate y'all.
Yeah. SEC Media Days is happening
underway right now.
We're going to have a new episode out next week about that. Wrapping that up. We'll also have another guest next week.
It's here.
Yeah, it is here. The countdown has started. What's the official count? Do you know?
The official count right now, if I did my math correctly, which is very questionable, is is today Tuesday?
Yeah. It's to do. Is
it Monday?
No, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Today.
Oh, okay. Today is Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday.
So, all right. 46, right?
46
days? Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Right. Oh, man. 46 days and counting. Adam.
Awful if I missed that, but I think it is 46.
I think you're right. Well, hey, let's wrap this thing up. This has been a good one.
is here, man. I'm excited about it. Hope everybody enjoyed the trip through memory lane, getting through with the month of July. August is my favorite time of year, Clark, because that's when you get fresh information every day. You read practice reports. You just pray every night there's no injuries, no ACL tears, and that's what you're thinking about the whole month of August is no injuries, man, getting fired up about it. So we've about made it. We will be pumping out an episode for y'all every single week from now until we get to getting ready for a big game against the Tennessee Martin Skyhawks, man. So get your minds right already. It's going to take from now until then to really get mentally prepared for when the Skyhawks come to Sanford Stadium.
Yeah.
So y'all stay safe out there. Enjoy the end of your summer because fall is on the horizon, which means football's on the horizon, and all is right with the world once again. The world is on its axis, correctly tilted.
I love it, Adam.
Go Dogs, baby.
Go Dogs. Hoo, hoo, hoo.